Lunden, I'm so excited that you are here with me today. Welcome to Misunderstood.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So it's really interesting because as you know, I've obviously heard about you in the past. I don't know that I ever knew your name because the way that they had represented you in the media was a former stripper or a current stripper or however they would write it. And then when I was pitched you as a guest, I was like, oh my God, this woman is exactly why I have this kind of podcast. I got the book this weekend, the book that you've written called Out of the Shadows, My Life Inside the Wild World of Hunter Biden. And I could not put it down. I have to say, I wasn't able, I wasn't able to finish it yet, but I am going to finish it. It is really good. It's fascinating. And I already knew this just from hearing from your PR people, but like, you are not what people make you out to be. And so it's my honor to have you here. I want you to know that.
Thank you.
I'm really happy I get to be part of helping people hear your story. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I always tell people, the real story is so much more than the media portrayed it. There's so much more to it that, it was always stripper baby mama. He had no recollection of me, all this, one night stand type stuff. And it's like, no, the truth is actually a better story than what the media portrayed.
Right, of course. All right, so let's start way back when, though, because I do want people to know a little bit about you, where you're from, why you came to DC, because that story is so fascinating.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Arkansas, born and raised, and I was a college athlete. I went on to play basketball at Arkansas State. And then after that, I started working for my dad at his company, but I always was, my minors are like psychology and criminology. And I always wanted to live in DC, and I got to go on a trip to DC or the East Coast. But then I went on a trip to DC when I was in junior high and just fell in love with it. And it was just odd. One day it came up on the computer while I was at work, a CSI program in DC, two of the things that I love. And so I applied. I even went and met the director of the program to secure my spot and got into it. And that's, I think I moved to DC within a month of applying. Like it was within no time.
Right. And then also, you talk about being an athlete. What was that like?
Growing up, it's you have all this pressure and stuff on you, but it was more of like, it molded me, it disciplined me, it helped me in more ways than, you think about, because growing up and then going through a situation like this, someone had told me like, maybe that's why you were so disciplined. It was so easy for you to do certain things. Well, I wouldn't say it was ever easy, but yeah, I think that, being an athlete growing up definitely like molded me into the person that I am today and helped a lot with the things that I've gone through and that strength.
Yeah, I was going to say, because, later on, it seems like you need to draw on that strength, of course, but it is the discipline. It is the fact that you have some sense of, camaraderie, some, what it's like to be a team player, but also, your level of importance and who you are to make up that team. I just think athletes learn different skills than, just an everyday person, to be honest with you. So once you get to DC, tell us a little bit about what jobs you were into, why you were working and where you were working.
So I was going to CSI school at GW, and I was kind of relying on my parents for money and stuff like that to get through school. And I actually ran into Hunter, and my first like big job was that, I was there's a chapter on the poll where one of my friends was a cocktail waitress at a club and invited me, to come work with her. And I never met Hunter at a club. I've gone to clubs with him, but I didn't meet him there. I actually met him at Rosemont Seneca. And you get in DC and it's a lot. I don't know if you're real familiar or anything, but it's all about who you know and the connections and things like that. But I ran into him I say after party, but it really wasn't a party. It was more of just kind of a small gathering. And I always say, before and after, and it was after that night that my life changed after the night I met him.
So you were not working at the strip club before you met him, or you were?
Yes. The club came right before, soon before, somewhere around that time. And I have a really hard time with timelines, and I don't know why that is. I went to like brain spotting and stuff where they try to compartmentalize and do all this. And I'm pretty much a lost cause. And they say that it's because my brain has been through so much in so little time that a lot of times one of the first things to go is dates. And so, I sit there and like with my co-authors that I'm telling these stories to, I sit there and I can tell you everything that he was wearing or where we were or what the time of the day it was, but I can't tell you what day it was. Like it's
Right.
crazy the way that I've, had to go back and look at Snapchat memories and stuff to figure out what days are what and how it all molded together in chronological order.
Yeah, I agree with that. I sometimes worried about my memory because I feel like I do not remember things that I feel like anyone else does. Or I'll get a
Oh yeah.
random text from someone in my past that acts like they know me so well. And they're like, remember the time we did this, this, and this? And I'm thinking, am I the person that did that with them? Because I don't even recall that. But it has been
Yes.
because I've been through a lot and I feel like I definitely have blurred out a bunch of
Mhm.
things or my memory just can't keep it all straight. So I
Yeah, my
totally.
therapist says that it's a way of our brain saving us and keeping us sane. I'm like, well, when I'm writing a book, I need
The
it
facts.
because I don't want to, just tell a story and not have it fact checked in some sense. Like I want to know. It was hard for me, like a couple stories, we had to kind of mold together because of the time frame. I initially wrote 125,000 words and we had to shorten it to 80.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So it was a lot trying to mold it all together.
So talk to me about that first night that you met Hunter.
I met Hunter like I said, at Rosemont Seneca. I was invited through a friend, and I was actually going to the bathroom, and I talk about how, most people in DC, the party life, you might go to the bathroom and take a bump, or you're drinking shots out there in front of everyone. And Hunter's demons kept him, in the back room in the dark. And I stumbled across the room, and I talk about how, William Shakespeare said the eyes are the windows to the soul. And I never thought that was more true until I looked him in the eyes. This was such a complex person. And he was immediately, very genuine, very sincere. And he wanted the spotlight on me and he wanted to talk about me and know all this stuff. And, I ended up talking to him for hours and hours until I realized the sun's come up. And I was immediately, intrigued by him. And people think that's crazy. And it sounds crazy when I'm saying that because he's sitting there with, these parrot boxer briefs in the back room. And he's got this paraphernalia all over the desk that I'd never seen before. I'd never seen anything like that. I'd seen like cocaine and stuff, but not like the pipes and all this other paraphernalia. And it was just like, you would think, run, like get out of this room, go somewhere else, leave the building. But no, I had this immediate empathy for him. And, I like to say that I felt a real connection the first night I met him.
Right. So it's interesting. In reading your book, it seems like immediately you guys become very close. You guys become very good friends. And obviously, you have some intimate encounters. But first and foremost, it really reads like you guys were very close. He trusted you, and you clearly trusted him. Am I correct in
Absolutely.
saying that?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
And did you feel like, because you don't hear a lot in your book that he came with a bunch of friends, like you come with a couple girlfriends that you trust, that you let into his life. But did you ever feel like he was kind of a loner, that he didn't have a lot of friends when you met him and he needed you, or what was that?
Yes, in a way, I knew that he had just lost Bo, who was his best friend, and I knew that he was going through this divorce, and him and his wife had been separated. They were going through the legal battle, and he was having issues, with his family and stuff. And, even to the point there were sometimes he would tell me like there was a guy in Delaware that he grew up with, used to be his best friend, and they were kind of falling off. And he had so much turmoil that was happening around him. And, yeah, I brought friends around him that I trusted. And I also thought that, they would keep his secrets and his addiction a secret, not go public with it, because it seemed like every time Hunter turned around, he was another scandal to his father, and he hated that, absolutely hated it. And so he didn't ever really want to be around people, because I think those people that, he was friends with before his addiction and everything would probably be more strict in calling him out on it rather than enabling it.